kicks off Thursday night. It's Penrith Manly Thursday night. It's fucking pretty saucy game, isn't it?
For a Thursday night game, yes.
Beautiful.
But I guess it's your season kickoff.
Season opener, yeah. You want something a bit spicy, I would imagine. We won't run through our exact list.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah, or we can do it as we go. I think.
Yeah, we can come back to confirm that once we've reviewed everything.
Yes. So how we're going to do this is we're going to look at each team. I've moved them into alphabetical order.
Very nice.
Yeah, I couldn't say.
Based on location or based on...
Location.
Well, you're going to have to change this next year because Dolphins don't have a location.
Ah, true. What are they going to be? Because they don't want Redcliffe, do they? That's what the chat is. They don't want Redcliffe.
It's just too localised, I think is the point. They want to, if anything, it's going to be Brisbane.
The North Brisbane, South Coast, Sunshine Coast, bloody... We love hyphenated names in the NRL.
Anyway.
Let's move forward. Brisbane Broncos. Sean, you've got them coming 10th. I've got them coming 11th. Monkeys, you've got them coming 12th this year. No one thinks that Adam Reynolds-led Broncos with Pat Carrigan back, no one thinks that they make the 8. That's interesting. Thoughts?
Well, 10th. I've got them 10th.
Yeah, close.
That's an improvement on last year.
Definitely.
So I'm just not Adam Reynolds, of course, going to miss week 1 with COVID. I'm just not...
1 week.
Yeah, it's 1 week. It shouldn't be too much. It's how Reynolds fits into that squad because they are very young. They are a very young squad with a lot of up-and-coming talent.
Yep.
Kate Wells probably...
Great addition.
Yeah,
captain round 1.
Very potential. And Ryan James was in and out of the squad for the Raiders. He's played really well. So it's a good addition there. Of course, they got Payne Haas. So they've got
the best prop in rugby league.
Yeah, he's got. If not the most, he might not be the best, but he's the most talented.
Okay.
His ceiling is so high, it could be anything.
Yep. Agreed. And I'll probably go one further. I think he is the best prop in rugby league. And I like that you say young. You know,
super young.
We've seen Selwyn Cobbo come on leaps and bounds. A bit of contract talk around him. 19-year-old. He will be a legitimate superstar in the NRL. We saw Jordan Ricky come on a lot last year. Pat Carrigan coming back off the ACL. He's only young. Was captaining him at one stage. The big thing for me, Tony Staggs.
Yep.
Does he stay healthy? You know, we saw him in and out of the side last year.
In the centres still.
Does he play 6? Does he play 6?
I don't know. You got Billy Walters there, and I think it's going to...
Coach's son.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be Gamble. Tyson's going to play this week.
And famously last year, the most halves pairings, I'm going to say it, ever. It was just week by week. He had no idea who was going to play in the halves for the Brisbane Broncos.
No one was really cementing themselves and playing well enough. Brisbane stinks.
Yeah, that is true. But I feel like this year they need to have a 6 that plays with Reynolds week in and week out. Yeah. Because if it's Billy Walters 1 week and if it's Katoni Staggs another week and if it's Albert Kelly and then, if it's Tyson Gamble and blah, 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 you can't gel. You can't. It can't be this shit show like last year.
Yeah,
they need to have a 6 and 7. Stick with them. Obviously Reynolds will be the 7 once he's healthy, and go from there. We've all got him missing the 8. We all had every Queensland team missing the 8 this year,
which is again. I don't think any Queensland team.
It'll be back-to-back years that had happened.
I think they're improved.
Titans got in at 8.
Oh, yeah, maybe the Titans.
No, you're right.
They snuck in at 8.
Apologies.
Very. That's all right. I just got to run.
Fact check. It got very close, but I think they can. I think they could be like 8th if Reynolds, if everything goes their way. They take a step forward from the young guys take another step forward. But I'm not confident enough to do that. Whereas I think that's why I said 10th. I think 10th is. They're going to be in that space. That's where I think they'll be. They're somewhere between 8 and 10 is their range.
Yep. No, I tend to agree. I wouldn't be surprised if they make the 8. Do they challenge people late down the year? Nah, probably not.
When we talk about, say, the top 5, we'll even 6.
It's the big 5. It's let's agree, before we even get to them, and we spoke about it last year.
Yeah.
Penrith?
Yep.
Yes. Melbourne? Yep. Yes. Roosters?
Yep.
Yes.
Healthy Roosters? Definitely,
yes. Roosters, that's going to be massive. The Storm?
Yep.
So that's the top 4. That's our big 4.
4. And then you've got Souths and Eels.
Manly.
You got Manly. Yeah, I think Manly you can probably put in there the way they played last year. I think they can be definitely in that that conversation. So yeah, Manly 5, and then you've got Southland Eels. I think there,
and then we've got to drop off.
I think Eels won't be as good as they were last year.
Agreed,
and I think Souths, depending on how they go without Adam Reynolds, that's a big question.
Yeah,
how they fit in, because he's going to be a big out for them.
Massive. But I agree. I think pretty much everyone has got maybe if we throw Parramatta in there, we've got 6 clubs that we probably think will occupy that top 6, and then that next sort of drop off, that 7th, 8th, and the guys that are just missing the finals, it's anyone's game.
Yeah.
Again, this may age horrendously.
I was going to say, season done, let's go. Preview finished, we get out of here.
Remember last year when
we were saying
when Melbourne were on that mad run, and we were saying, let's just play the grand final now, Melbourne versus Penrith, yada yada yada. Mate, there's finals for a reason. And we saw South go so close but so far last year.
Who played in the final?
South and Penrith.
Oh yeah, okay. I was just trying to confirm. I was just like, where are you going with this? I'm sure. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Okay. Cracking start. Canberra Raiders, boys. We're all kind of, and a lot of the teams we didn't really stray too far. You had 8th. I had him 8th, you had him 9th. So we all think on the cusp of the 8, maybe in, maybe out. Jamal Fogarty, this is another one. Is it Fogarty? Is it Fogarty? Heard it pronounced both different ways. Yeah. He's going to miss probably the first half of the season.
Yeah, round 15 or 16, I think they're talking and getting him back.
Meniscus, Brad Schneider.
Young fella. So I was talking to the old man, who's a closet Raiders fan, the insider for us. He was hoping they'd pick Snyder over Sammy Williams. Sammy Williams, of course, known commodity, what he is, etc. Look, give the young fella a chance. I think the Raiders. I like their front. There's chat that Ryan Sutton's probably going to the Bulldogs next year, but I like their pack. I think they've got a centre problem, as in they've got too many guys that they need to kind of fit into the centre.
And who do they go with?
Yeah, because I think they've got the most electrifying player in the comp, and he's not this side. And that's Xavier Savage. So
Savage.
I think he's not the best. I'm not saying he's the best player. No. Every time he touches the football, he's great. I literally turn Raiders games on just to watch Savage play.
And we saw it last year. It was devastating when he got injured. And I agree. They've got so many talented backs, and unfortunately, poor Harley Smith-Shields did his ACL.
Yeah. So, if you put Savage in one, then where do you got to put? You got to play chance. You got to put him in the.
Yeah, CNK. I think CNK has to play one.
Look, I think you definitely going to. That's where they'll start. They'll play him. But if you want to get Savage in the squad, you can't play him elsewhere. He's not big enough really to be a winger in NRL in this day and age. He's probably not the ball player and the runner like you want in a 6. And he's probably not big enough in the sense, he has to be a 1. So if you play him at 1, you have to move Chance.
Could he come off the bench? But then you've got Tom Starling's
already in that.
So you need, your one utility. You'd probably rather have 3 forwards off the bench.
And Starling's, you're grooming him to be your Hodgson replacement as well, because Josh is. Yeah. This is probably Josh's last year here.
Yeah.
So
then you also talk about Semi Valemi. You talk about Matt Tomoko.
Yeah, I think Matt Tomoko's returns. Yeah, I think Kotrick maybe gets a little bit lost on the wing there. He left to go to the Bulldogs to play more centre because he was playing outside Croker, not getting enough ball. He's back, and I don't think it's going to change too much there, and I'd rather see him in the centres to get more ball, but he's a good winger. He's good there in the wing. Chris, I really like Chris. Hopewadi is probably an interesting one there. He could end up finding himself being the odd man out, but Tomoka, I think, ends up being probably the best of the centres. By all accounts in the trial games, he's really been. There you go. I was right. So Monks is just confirming for me that Josh Hodgson is going to the Eels next year. So that's confirmed. So they want to get Tom Sterling in there, so you can't drop him out of the squad. And then, of course, the elephant in the room's got to be old mate Croker. I think stand by him. You got to be loyal to him, but he's got no knees and no shoulders. So
he's banged up.
He's a long-term career. We know how bad his knees are. He essentially was a turnstile end last year. We know what we're going to get with him. We'll give him the chance to start the year, but in the trial games, Ricky was trying the Raiders without Jared in that side to see what they could do.
Do you think there's that a bit of Ricky mind games, or do you bother with mind games in trials?
He needs to know what he's got in the young fellas.
Yeah,
because I think they're going to play. He'll stick by Jared, and the same thing with Chance. Like, he'll give them chances. Don't start well, and he's going to have to make changes. And Xavier Savage potentially could be playing fullback for Queensland in the not too distant future. So
you got that big a raps on him.
Oh, he's good.
And you know who we haven't even mentioned? Jordan Rapana, who's going to miss the first 2 games with suspension.
Yeah. So he probably hit one.
That's
he probably
much for me as well. That shoulder charge in the All-Star game.
A bit of hoopla around that whole suspension thing.
Yeah. Anyways, we don't need to dig too deep.
I think they're a good squad.
I think it's a good problem to have. They've got like too many backs, and to be fair, a lot of these guys deserve to be first grade footballers. So it's a good problem for Ricky to have.
Definitely.
How they end up lining up 1 through 7 is going to be interesting.
The big problem though is you got to score points. Most of your points come from your back line, and if you don't have that set and it's changing, you're going to have a bad time. I will say, we haven't talked about it. Jack needs to find his passing game. I think
a down year from Jack Whiten last year.
I think after he won the Dally M, he, for whatever reason, just got so much into the mode of ball running. Like, that was his number one option always. Really limited the guys outside him.
But
I also think maybe that potentially could have been a problem, not to shit on Croker again, but with him probably not being at 100%, that it didn't give Jack really good options outside him. But Jack needs to pass the ball more. I think he needs to get into his passing game more, which will make his running game more deadly.
And staying on Jack Whiten, pretty fucking good for the New South Wales Blues off the bench and starting.
He's an elite talent. Like, he's very good.
I don't know if it was a Jack Whiten problem last year or if it was a Canberra Raiders problem.
Definitely. I think he became a bit more of a one-trick trick pony where he had to just run the ball, and everyone knew that they could do it for it, and their scheme, to protect themselves against it. Knowing the guys outside him probably won't get in and get the ball, one, either because they weren't in good enough positions for Jack to feed them ball, or two, that that was the option they were going with. I think they were limited in what they were doing last year, banged up in the back line a little bit.
Indeed. I think we can all agree probably 8, fringe 8.
I think they can. They're a team. They've got talent. They're a team.
That's a good list. It's a great list, isn't it?
I just think they're going to have issues struggling maybe in the early parts of the year. Though, first 10 games of the NRL don't matter. You can lose them all and still make the 8.
You wouldn't want to start 0-10. I don't think that's going to happen either.
It's not great, but you just saw what Manly did last year. They started very
horribly.
And then
do you remember those first 4 games last year with Tommy Turbo out after he slipped in the shower and didn't injure his hamstring racing guys down the Esplanade in Manly? Do you remember we were talking about like Manly's in big trouble? They're giving up one of the worst points differences ever through 4 games. I think it was them and the Cowboys that were really stinking it up.
So are they going to get the spoon? And they finished 4th.
Yeah, and then there was a big difference, wasn't there? So, again, much like the EPL that we were talking about before, let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
So Snyder in that list is probably the biggest unknown. Like, if he comes and has the Sammy Walsh kind of impact, then excellent.
Sammy Walsh?
Sammy.
Yeah, I agree. Sammy Walsh. Walker is, I think, who you're thinking of.
Walker. Sorry, I've got recent.
That's all right.
I'm combining the two.
Carlton Blues, Sammy Walsh.
Yeah.
Unbelievable impact.
Walker. Sammy Walker.
Also, Soliola, by all reports, one of the best blokes getting around in Canberra Raiders history. He's hung up the boots for the year. So shout out to big Soliola.
Yeah. It happened, I think, at the end of
last year. I think we've spoken about it.
Greg Hardy just got cooked.
Wow. Spivak, Sheriff Tiraspol represent. Let's go. Interesting. Hardy goes in the first round.
Yeah, I didn't see the initial shot, but
neither.
It looks like he got him down.
He's dazed and confused.
He's definitely out of it. Yeah.
Dazed and confused. Greg Hardy.
He ate some ground and pound.
Big time. Okay, let's get into
hopefully that's Greg Hardy done in the UFC. Anyway, Bulldogs.
Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs. A lot of speculation around these guys.
They could be anything or they could be nothing.
The Wooden Spooners from last year, they could be the Wooden Spooners again this year. They could finish 6th for all I'm concerned. Who knows? Exactly. They've had so much in and so much out. Matt Duffy will play fullback over from the Dragons. The fastest man in league. We'll get to this in a second. Maybe there might be a new challenger. But Josh Addo-Carr comes over from the Storm. Matt Burton, we saw how good He was at the Panthers. Brent Naden, Paul Vaughan, Tavita Pangai Jr., Max King, the most heavily recruited team. Unbelievable the way that they've been able to get these guys over. The Gus Gould influence, how much does that have? A lot, I'd imagine. These names, boys, do you think with this team on paper, can they push for the 8? I've been the most bullish. I've predicted them coming 9th, Monk's 11th, Sean 12th.
Yep.
Tell me why you don't think they're a top 8 team.
I think they've moved forward. Halves are the big concern. So Matt Burton's excellent, but they don't have a halfback.
Yep. Yeah, Jake Averillo came along last year, let's be honest. We do know the importance of 1, 6, 7, 9 in rugby league.
Yep.
Again,
he'll have a better platform, but yeah.
And not to shit on Jeremy Marshall-King, probably not an elite 9.
Their spine is suspect.
Yep.
So that's why you say like they could be anything.
Yeah.
But we're relying on those guys to take a big step forward.
In terms of like some of those names coming across, like Josh Adokar, arguably the best winger in the league. Yep. TPJ, unbelievable back rower. Paul Vaughan was playing Origin Kangaroos, before the infamous party at Vaughan's last year. They could be everything. They could be nothing. I've gone the most bullish in them just missing the 8. At 9th, but I agree. I do have concerns around the spine, and maybe it takes a year to gel. Maybe
that's my only reasoning right there. It's just
half the club wasn't, that starting team wasn't there last year.
Exactly.
So
they'll ascend, but they're probably another year away. They need to add a few more pieces, and then they'll be back in the 8.
Yeah, just not too many more barbecues.
Yeah.
No, that's the Dragons. We'll get to them.
Yeah, not salty about that at all, are we? 2 Dragons fans down the end of the table here. Let's go down
Sharkies?
to the Cronulla-Sutherland Sharks. Interesting, we've all got them in the 8th.
I reckon we've purely done this because of Nico Hines.
Yeah, that's
it.
all. That's the factor. Sean 7th, me 6th, Monk 7th for the Cronulla-Sutherland Sharks. Nico Hines into 7. How's he going to go? Playing halfback. Obviously played a lot of fullback, a fair bit of 6 for the Storm. Came along leaps and bounds last year. If you'd asked me 12 to 18 months ago who Nico Hines was, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you. Nope. And then, Dally M chat last year. An
elite year with the Storm.
Unbelievable coming out party for Nico Hines.
Yeah.
Now,
they could be anything again.
He was at the Melbourne Storm. If there's any system where players flourish, it's the Melbourne Storm. And historically,
playing outside a guy with Cameron Munster.
Exactly. And when guys tend to leave the Melbourne Storm, doesn't tend to have the best results. I'm a bit more bullish on Nico Hines.
He does come with Finucane,
and people need to talk more about Dale Finucane.
Yeah. Is he going to be their captain?
Chase that up. I think he might be first year captain. There. Look,
they still have Fafita listed in this team as well. So
yeah, does he start? Does he come off the bench? Not really sure.
My big concerns with them is always going to be injuries because you've already got Wade Graham's going to miss 6 weeks.
Yep.
With the dreaded syndesmosis.
Yep, syndesmosis.
And then I think as well, Mick Inglis is still coming back.
Yeah,
because he had the bad knee.
Last year. Yeah, so he did his ACL, and then the Dragons were doing his rehab, and it was announced pretty much through the middle of the year. Shania Twain at the UFC. That does impress me much.
Did you see who she was sitting next to though?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways.
That was Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders.
Oh, was it Mark Davis?
Yeah, well, the son. So
the younger one. Yeah. Okay. Back to the Sharks. And this back line is unbelievable. The back row, sorry, got me all shaken up from watching the stars.
Well, back line, I was like, there's some talent there. I don't know with these people.
The back row when they're healthy.
Yeah,
Dale Finucane, Wade Graham. We saw Britton Nakora come along last year. I think Cam McInnes might play 13, and Blake Brayley might play 9. I think that the Dragons did a lot of that with Cam McInnes once McCulloch was there, even with Ben Hunt earlier. So that might happen. The weird thing around Cam McInnes is that the Dragons were doing his rehab, and he's only just recently had like a knee clean out. So I imagine there was some kind of complication with the surgery. Why they didn't get on top of it earlier, who knows? Again, we spoke earlier in the show about it being hard to get good, reliable medical information out of sports leagues. But that's a bit of a weird one. Anyways, it's not expected to be too major. I think they're saying about 4 to 6 weeks, and Cam McInnes should be back and ready to go. This side, with Wade Graham, Cam McInnes in there, pretty handy. Also picked up Matt Ikuvalu. Don't know if he will bust into the starting 17, but one of the only players ever to score 6 tries in one game. Phenomenal game there for the Roosters. Does he beat out Sione Katata and Ronaldo Mulitalo for a starting spot on the wing? Hard to tell.
So I think you summed it up real, Peppy. I think they can sneak into the back half of that 8. But if they're injured, and Matt Moreland as well has had injury struggles, the Sharks generally in the last couple of years have struggled with injuries. Then they'll flame out, unfortunately. But hopefully they can stay healthy.
Interesting. We all have them in the 8th, in the 8. But yeah, like we talk about that big 5, big 6. I think the Sharks are in tier 2, aren't they? They'll be there or thereabouts. And obviously, Nico Hines, how he fits into that system, how he plays as a half will be interesting.
Yep, no, definitely.